In the last video, I introduced the climax of the Bourbon arc, the Mystery Train, which is similar to the climax of the plots in the previous 3 arcs, in which I think the plot of this arc is very exciting. The true identities of Scar Akai and Bourbon were revealed, the appearance of the real Akai Shuichi, especially the appearance of Kaitoukid, and the duel of Kuroba Toichi's 3 apprentices completely exceeded my prediction. But for the author Ayamagosho, this arc is a huge fault in his work, mainly because of the appearance of Kaitoukid. Ever since the arc with the clash of Red and Black, the balance of power between Conan and the Black Organization has begun to reverse. If Kid joins Conan's side in this situation, then the Black Organization will be too pitiful. And Kaitoukid should be the protagonist appearing in another manga by the author, Magic Kaito. He only occasionally plays with Conan in the side plots of Detective Conan, but it hardly affects the main storyline. The last time he appeared in the main plot of Detective Conan was in The Gathering of the Detectives, Kuro Shinichi vs Kaitoukid. That time, Kid only pretended to be Morikogoro and saved the culprit, but this time, he disguised as Shetty on the Mystery Train and pretended to be killed in an explosion, directly affecting the whole main storyline. So, Ayamagosho said that in the future, Kaitoukid and Kyogoku Makoto will not appear in the main storyline. One has the strongest IQ in Detective Conan, of up to 400, and the other has the strongest combat power in Detective Conan, 400 matches, no losses. If they join Conan's side, it's like silver bullets being loaded into a Gatling gun. Today, they shake hands and make peace, and tomorrow, it will be game over for the Black Organization. In any case, back to the Bourbon arc of the plot. Unlike the previous 3 arcs of the plot, the Bourbon arc does not just have one climax. After everyone knew that Bourbon was Amara Toru, he did not choose to hide, but continued to work as a waiter at Poirot Coffee downstairs, under the Mori Detective Agency. At the same time, he took another job, becoming a tennis coach. The Japanese Public Security Bureau's furuyarei, the Black Organization's Bourbon, Poirot Coffee's waiter, Amara Toru, Morikogoro's apprentice, and a tennis coach. There are a total of 3 identities and 5 jobs, and he's also proficient in techniques including cooking, driving, shooting, deducing, medical skills, fighting, and etc., with almost no weaknesses. If we say that most of the characters in Detective Conan are ideal characters, then furuyarei will be one of the most perfect characters among them. When he was a tennis coach, he encountered a murder case with Conan. He witnessed a scene where Conan wanted to tranquilize Morikogoro with a tranquilizer dart. Although Conan explained that this was because his watch was broken, it still caused furuyarei to doubt his true identity. Anime episode 731. Haneda Shukichi, the second son of the Akai family, appears. He is also Miyamoto Yumi's ex-boyfriend. He became a shogi player just like Haneda Koji, who died 17 years ago. Haneda Koji won shogi's 4 titles before his death, and is considered the shogi player most likely to get all 7 titles. Although he died before he got it, his unrelated little brother Haneda Shukichi succeeded in winning all 7 titles in his place. Anime episode 734. Conan started to exchange information with FBI agent Jody Starling in order to investigate the true purpose of Bourbon as a waiter at Poirot Coffee. And Jody Starling also knew that Scar Akai was disguised by a member of the Black Organization, Bourbon. At the same time, in order to investigate whether Akai Shuichi really died, Vermuth disguised herself as a pregnant woman and disguised Bourbon as the victim of the previous bank robbery to pretend to be a husband and wife, then approached Jody Starling and attached a transmitter device on her body. According from eavesdropping on Conan and Jody's conversation, Bourbon learned that Akai Shuichi had taken Conan's phone with his non-dominant right hand after Kusuda Rikimichi, and he also witnessed Conan's powerful deduction ability and was curious about his true identity. Then, Vermuth pretended to have morning sickness and secretly recovered the transmitter device hidden on Jody Starling's sleeve. Although their plan is perfect, Haibara still has doubts about them, because the symptoms of morning sickness usually only appear within 3 months of pregnancy, and because the pregnant woman has obviously been pregnant for more than 6 months, she should not have similar symptoms. But everyone's physique is different, so Conan doesn't care. It was only until Detective Takagi told Conan that the victim of the bank robbery was single, it was impossible to have an already pregnant wife. Conan finally began to suspect that the people posing as the couple were Vermuth and Bourbon. Anime episode 760. Conan started to become curious about the little girl who looked like a junior high school student on Seda Masumi's phone and went to the hotel where she lived to investigate. And Seda Masumi's mother, Seda Mary, finally appeared. By observing Conan's deduction ability and the transmitter devices that were set, Mary thinks that he is a capable detective. So, she asked Seda Masumi to tell Conan that she was a little sister from outside the territory. Territory is abbreviated as TER in English. If TER were to be taken away from the word sister, it would become SIS, the abbreviation of Secret Intelligence Service, also known as the MI6. This is Mary's test of Conan to see if Conan is capable of becoming their partner. Anime episode 770. Because of fingerprints, Bourbon believes that Kusura Rikimichi and Akai Shuichi's death has an important relationship, so he came to Haido Central Hospital for investigation and met Conan. Through clever words, Bourbon guided and guessed that Conan was probably related to Kusura Rikimichi's death. Here, Uncle Mori happened to help Conan get through, and also change the topic back to his previous nickname. Then, the child waiting for the elevator said aloud, Zero, which shocked Bourbon. Although he concealed that Zero was his nickname when he was a child, Conan witnessed the scene and began to doubt Bourbon's true identity. At the end of this episode, Bourbon learned about Kusura Rikimichi's disappearance from Detective Takagi, knowing that left on his car was a bloodstain that was less than 1 millimeter. Bourbon guessed that he died in a high-speed car, and his body should be recovered by the FBI for some purpose. This further convinced Bourbon that Akai Shuichi was not dead. However, this is just a deduction without any evidence. So, the second climax of Detective Conan's Bourbon arc, the Scarlet Return, begins. This time's appearing characters include Conan, FBI agents Akai Shuichi, Jody Starling, and Andre Kamo. At the same time, there's also Kuro Yukiko, who is disguised as Kuro Yusaku, and the one who appeared in the main story for the first time, and representing the man who is the culmination of deduction in Detective Conan, Kuro Yusaku. He disguised himself as Okuyasubaru with the help of Yukiko. Their purpose is to fool the Black Organization and prevent them from knowing that Akai Shuichi was still alive, and also reveal the true identity of Bourbon, a member of the Black Organization. The members of the Black Organization include Vermouth and the undercover agents of Japanese public security, Bourbon. Their purpose is to find evidence of Akai Shuichi's fake death and where he's hiding. This looks like the Jet Black mystery train and seems to be a duel between Conan and the Black Organization, but it's actually infighting between Conan's teammates again. Anime episode 779. Conan speculated that Bourbon would try to contact the FBI to obtain evidence after knowing that Kusura Rikimichi's death was related to Akai Shuichi's death. So, Conan told Jody Starling to keep all the FBI agents confidential in regards to this matter. On the other hand, Conan saw Bourbon's strong hostility towards the FBI and strong patriotism towards Japan, which further confirmed his guess. So, Conan made a gamble. He pulled Bourbon aside and asked him if he belonged to his side. Although his identity may be exposed, Conan still did it. And Bourbon did not confirm, but did not say no either, and rather changed the subject. Then, Vermouth branched out from Jody and Conan, disguising as Jody to learn from Andre Kamo that Kusura Rikimichi committed suicide with a pistol in a car. The location of the gun mark on the skull should be the same as that of Akai Shuichi's, plus the right hand's fingerprints, and the mysterious kid. Not to mention, the phrase that Akai Shuichi said before his death, to think he went this far. Bourbon deduced all the plans of Conan and Shuichi. The sentence, to think he went this far, was not for Kiryu or the Black Organization, but for the prediction of the mysterious kid at Ogawa Conan. After that, Bourbon started investigating whether there were any new people around Conan after Akai Shuichi's death, as well as also investigating Professor Akasa, who had close contact with Conan. He had a very popular invention, a voice-changing choker, but it soon stopped selling. If anyone wants to use this gadget secretly, the user must hide it around their neck area. Only one person meets these standards, and that is Okuyasubaru, who now lives in the Kudo house. Therefore, Furuyarei brought his subordinates from the Japanese public security and confronted Okuyasubaru to expose his identity, as well as wanting to catch other FBI agents in order to threaten Akai Shuichi. On the other hand, because Jody Starling saw Conan's shocked expression and thought he was hiding something from her, she and Andre Kamo came to Raiha Pass to investigate the death of Akai Shuichi again. Then she deduced the truth as Bourbon did, and Jody suddenly remembered the 50-50 catchphrase of the man she met in the department store before, knowing that the man was Akai Shuichi in a disguise. However, as a director, Conan once again guessed everyone's actions, letting his mother Kuro Yukiko disguise as Kuro Yusaku to receive the Academy Awards, and letting Kuro Yusaku disguise as Okuyasubaru to meet Bourbon. The real Akai Shuichi was hidden in the trunk of Andre Kamo's car, and when Jody was in danger, he appeared to blow up the tires of all the chasing vehicles. The appearance of Shuichi completely disrupted Bourbon's rhythm, and he even knew that Bourbon's true identity was an undercover agent from the Japanese public security. Compared with the confrontation between the FBI and the Japanese public security, Akai Shuichi suggested that Furuyarei put aside personal grievances first. The Black Organization is their common enemy. Finally, Akai Shuichi requested them to investigate the pistol used by Kusura Rikimichi when he committed suicide, because, compared to the FBI, the Japanese police are more suitable for investigating this incident. Therefore, the Black Organization is very likely to arrange an undercover within the Japanese police. In addition, how about I said before that if the police started investigating the email address of the black organization's boss, they might find an incredible person. Plus, Rumov describing the boss of the black organization as an extremely cautious person. It is possible that the boss of the black organization may personally sneak into the high-level Japanese public security to be an undercover. The boss may even have appeared among the 36 Japanese police officers within Detective Conan mentioned in my previous video. No matter what, after everything was over, Bourbon returned as Amada Toru's identity and continued to work as a waiter at Poirot Coffee downstairs under the Mori Detective Agency and established trust with Conan. Akashiuchi also told Jody and Kamo the whole truth. At this point, the fourth arc of Detective Conan, the Bourbon arc, concludes. The black organization has done almost nothing. The two duels are basically infighting between Conan's team members. Vermouth knew that Shetty was not dead, but did not tell other organization members, nor did Bourbon tell other organization members that Akashiuchi was still alive. Therefore, this is another big victory for Conan, successfully deceiving the black organization twice again, obtaining teammates furuyarei and Japanese public security. Also learning from another undercover teammate, Mizunashi Reina, that the second in command of the black organization, Rum, is about to take action, and his status is even higher than that of Jean's. Detective Conan's fifth arc of the plot, the Rum arc, is about to begin.